Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Coaches Dugout podcast, a podcast for coaches by coaches. Now, we are out on YouTube, we are out on Spotify, we are out on Apple Podcasts as well. So please follow us, subscribe to us, and just click on the follow button. Now, today we have a special episode, the first episode of a five-part series with our partner, the Individual Football Training, IFT in short. Now, in this special series, we'll get to know IFT better, who they are, the founding members, why they are doing what they are doing, the methodology as well. And also, I think in the next few episodes, we'll also get to know some of their coaches. So let's get stuck in. Let's not waste time. Now, today on the show, we have one of the founding members of the Individual Football Training. He has a master in high training team sports performance, UEFA A license holder as well. And he is an individual technical coach for Barcelona and Madrid as well. Welcome to the Coaches Dugout podcast, Mr. Francisco Matos.
First of all, I want to thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure for me and for IFT to have an opportunity to share our experience and to share what we've been creating along the years in the terms of the youth football and the complementary training with the professional players.
Right. Thanks, Francisco. And we hear that people call you Kiko.
Yes.
Can I call you Kiko as well?
Of course.
All right, Kiko. Just before we start talking about IFT, it was an interesting point you said at the beginning. The number of years you started out with IFT. How long has it been from start till now?
So this is a long story.
Right.
In 2005,
yeah,
I started to coach very young. When I was 18, we used to play in lower levels. I had the opportunity to start in the team that I was training, a regional team, to start to work with the young kids, and it became a passion. And in 2005, I had the opportunity to travel to Spain and make an internship in an individual development training center, in which we had players from Madrid, from Atletico, from Barcelona, from everywhere.
Yeah.
It was a completely different methodology because they were focused on the details that each player needed to improve, so their game would boost. Understand? So I've been there, and during that time I was training also in Boa Vista. It's a good club in Portugal.
Yep.
So during that time I was traveling Porto, Madrid, Porto, Barcelona, making this complementary training. And in 2013, so after a while, with the other co-founders, two friends, we decided to bring what we felt that was the best ideas on the Spanish methodology, and to mix with the Portuguese methodologies. So during that period, we started to work with the youth players from everywhere, from Porto, Benfica, Sporting, and during the years, our dynamic had gratefully a big growth. Right now, we work with professional players,
right?
Professional players like Bruno Fernandes, like Alex Telles, like many international players, as a complementary way, let's call it a complementary method, in order to boost their performance. But it's a long story short, how we appeared in this methodology, in this world, let's call it.
Right. Kiko, I think we talked about this just before we started recording, and we talked about football, how we can talk about it for 2 hours and never end, right? So yeah, it's correct. I think we can go on about this. You talk about this methodology and stuff in terms of complementing a team training, for example, right? Did you identify any problems that in players, in youth, that you see, maybe I needed to start something individually to complement them instead of always like in a normal team structure training?
That's the biggest reason of our step, let's call it, let's put it the way like that, because this is what was happening here in Portugal. To give you an example, of course that our role models are coaches like Guardiola, like Mourinho, but the way they play, the way they work, it's not the way that in our idea the youth should work, because on the youth our main concern is to develop the young players. And to develop the young players is not the way that we want them to play, but to give them tools for them to grow and for the players to model themselves. You understand?
Yep.
The player creates his own specificity. You understand?
Yep.
But the problem is that on the youth right now, the coaches, they want the teams to play the way that they want the team to play.
Yep.
So they are creating a player that a specific player. They are creating them, and is not the player that is growing, creating from himself. And that's a big difference, because we can create a player that is able to adapt himself to every kind of variability, every kind of style of game, that is able to understand the game. I mean, understand the game is a player that, because the game every second is a different situation.
Right.
So it's a question of the player being able to understand what's happening on the space that is near him, understand how he should connect with the team players, how he can relate himself with the space and with the opponents.
Yep.
And that for us is giving the players tools in order they are able to understand and to execute.
Right. In short, let me try to summarize this. Right. I try my best. Right. If you develop a player individually, he has all the tools. Can be anything: ball control, passing, or whatever. Technically, he is very, very good. Then he is able to do it in any position. Tactically, he's well aware of what's happening. And is that what you're trying to say? Is if he's technically good enough, he can fit into any tactical system or formation or whatever that the coach wants him to play.
What in our idea, it's funny, because some days ago in the university, I was asked exactly the same question. What happens is like this, and you've seen a lot. Sometimes we have a player that has a huge technical level, but his decision making is very poor.
Yep.
And sometimes you have a player that is he's very intelligent, understands the game, but sometimes the technical level doesn't allow him to execute faster. Or sometimes imagine we've read. We have the perception that we need to pass to the right side because we've scanned it, we've made the scan. We have the game perception gave us the information that we need to go to that direction, but the ball came and our first touch was poor. So I lost time, and at the moment that I was going to execute the pass, the decision had to be a different one.
True.
So here we have two sides. One player with a high technical level and poor tactical knowledge, and a very good tactical knowledge and a poor technical level. What we want is to have the both together. So we created a methodology to make the players assimilate and assimilate the technical movements, but to make them understand when they should make, where they should make it, how they should make, because the game is that. The game is not 1v1 situations or situations without opponents. The game is the way that I connect myself with everything that is surrounding me. So it's important that every technical training ends in the progression that allows the player to understand what is the relation with the space and the teammates and the opponents. So that's our progression. picking up a technical skill and step by step putting in the reality moment in which we can understand when, how, and where to do it.
Kiko, this is wonderful because I think you said it very nicely in terms of you're trying to marry both. That means someone who's tactically good as well as technically good, right? And you know, even in professional football nowadays, you see players who are technically good, and then at that right moment, the decision making is poor. You see that at even in professional football level as well. You know, so I think that you said it, you hit the nail right on the head, right? Now, before we go on and talk a little bit about the methodology, who are your two other founding members before we forget about them altogether? Like, who are they? Yeah.
The other two long time friends, Álvaro Madureira, also a professional coach, UEFA license, many experience, the same experience as I have, because we've been together all these years as professional coaches, in team coaches, and in team. I mean normal clubs and in individual development. And the other coach, the other co-founder is Pedro Royce. He is more related to the goalkeeping area. He was a professional goalkeeper. He was a player, a goalkeeper, and also a player and coach. And we made the three the same path. We are doing the same path.
Nice.
Until now.
Nice. Hopefully we'll get to hear from the other two as well in the coming episodes as well. Now let's go on a little bit and talk about the methodology of the IFT, because three coaches like you guys, experience and what have you, how do you actually come up with a methodology, you know, like a syllabus kind of thing, you know, and especially for all the full range of age groups as well as up to professional level? How do you actually come up with that, and what is the methodology like? You know, just give me an example of how you go about doing it.
So what we've tried to create it was like I said before, to bring the ideas from Spain, from Portugal, and to understand and we made a profound analysis regarding what the role models do. How let's call it, Messi is the best player accelerating with the ball.
Okay.
But why is Messi so good at this moment? Why he's so good on body movements? How he puts the leg, how he puts the body, and so we started to define every detail on the movements. Imagine, let's call it on 1v1 situation. Let's give an example. We want a player to be successful on this movement. So we've defined a big number of movements in body movements and movements with the ball, for example, that we've learned it by seeing the role models like Neymar, like Mbappé, like Messi, like Cristiano, and we defined it how description, how should the movements be, how we should put the leg, where should be the ball, how should be the body. And with that, imagine we defined phases. Imagine on the dribbling, the player should face the defender, should fake a movement, and should accelerate to be successful. So on our methodology, the player passes through these phases, and we make a progression in order on the training he understands how, where, and when to do it. And of course, and most important, the fact that we are coaching three different level of players. We've defined criterion success in different phases. So imagine if we have players with level 3. With level 3, we know which kind of features we need to ask to these kind of players. If we have players like is the medium level, so to help them improve, we know which is the marks that we need to achieve in order he is stimulated to reach a different level. So we've created it's a big identity. It's our identity that is also very important is the way that the coach must interact.
Nice,
Because
nice.
in this phase, the role of the coach can be huge. It's very, very important.
Right.
So in order they learn, the player learns, and as well is able to take decisions from himself. Because sometimes the coaches, they try to take the decisions, to make the decisions from the players, you understand?
Right. Understand. Well, I think if you've come up with such a so-called a syllabus, I think that's great work. And I think we have to applaud you for that as well. And of course, trying to improve players individually as well. And I think that's great work. Now, what is success to IFT? In your eyes, what is success to you? What does it mean?
Success for us, we have two ways.
Yep.
One huge reward for us is when a player is having a training session, doing, imagine, precision shooting.
Yep.
Or dribbling, or imagine a changing of direction movement. Let's call this example. Imagine that he's a midfielder.
Yep.
And he's making training movements that allows them to create space. I mean, imagine to push the defender to one side, and then he makes a movement to create space in order to go to the other space. And training, having this kind of training, and then he comes after 1 week, and he comes, coach, this game on the Sunday, I received the ball, I put in my body, giving one information, and I made the movement that we were training, and I made a breaking line pass, and it was an amazing play.
Yep.
For us, it's a huge reward. Another reward is the players that are here with us, and we have some examples that are with us 5, 6 years, and are on the national teams or grow to big teams, get the opportunity to go to big teams, and that's a huge reward for us.
Beautiful, and I think that's well said as well. It's nothing beats the feeling of coaching someone, and then he goes on and do it in a real game, and then it becomes it's success for you, and I totally understand that part. Well done. Now, before we go, I think that there are another 4 episodes to go. We just wanted to know what the IFT is all about, and I think we've got a rough idea of what that is. Now, just tell me how much IFT has grown over the years, and where are y'all headed to? Y'all obviously are in Asia, obviously, that's why I'm talking to you, right? And tell us what's next for IFT. Are you going to take over the world?
That's the objective. No, we feel that our methodology. So first is the passion. That's we love to work with young players. We know that right now we have the recognition from professional players like Rames Rodriguez. If these kind of players come to us to train, is a recognition that they feel that it's useful for them. But we feel that we have space because we are a complementary work. Imagine in Singapore, we will not compete with the other academies. No. The most important work that the players have is with their clubs. We are just like a tutor at school. Sometimes the kids, they have the maths, the normal subjects, and they need an extra tutor, an extra class to achieve a higher grade. And that's where we position ourselves. In Portugal, we've grown. At the moment, we are. We work in all the country. In Europe, we are growing as well, to Switzerland, to England, and we had an experience in Singapore just before the pandemic. And we feel that I love it, the experience that I had in Singapore. I love the country. So we felt that it could be a good opportunity for us do the passion that we saw in football, that we could have an opportunity as well to implement our methodology.
Beautiful. And of course, you're talking about Singapore and all. There's good news, right? You all are coming in June. Yes?
In June, we will be there.
Yeah.
Normally, we have events that we run, very intense events, 6 hours per day training per day.
Beautiful.
So it's many hours of technical development. And in June, and we've done this in Switzerland, we've done this in England, we'll do this in Singapore. It will be an opportunity to, in a short period, to have a massive number of hours and a massive number of training sessions.
Wonderful, Kiko. I'm sure I'm going to see you as well when you come down. We'll be welcoming you here in Singapore. Just before we go, right? Tell me about James Rodriguez.
James Rodriguez, we had the opportunity.
Yeah.
So we were here, normal day.
Yeah.
Normal day, and sorry, normal day. I was training, and when this is the office. When I came to the office, I had several calls with a number that I didn't knew.
Yeah.
And I called back, and it was a Portuguese guy saying, James Rodriguez wants to go to train today. And I was, okay. I closed everything. And he came, and then after that we've had some extra works with them by videos, by technical analysis of their games. But the player that comes the most is Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is all the time here.
Yeah.
Is all the time here when he has some breaks on Man United on the preseason, because he feels that it's important for him. This complementary work.
Wonderful, Kiko, because you do know that in Singapore we have a huge number of Man U fans here, you know, and I think they will be looking forward to listening to you guys soon as well. So Kiko, before we go and end the very first episode, I think it has been good, you know, at least we know what IFT is all about, what you guys do, the methodology just a little bit, and I think in the next episode we will be talking to a few of the coaches as well. I'll get to know them a little bit. And any last words from you and about IFT in general?
No, just to reinforce that is a pleasure for us to be able to share our passion, to share what we believe that it's useful tools for the youth, to help the players to boost their creativity, to help the players grow by themselves, in order they become stronger as players, stronger as football players, and hoping that our first step in Singapore is successful, because we want to be a long-term relationship.
Thank you, Kiko. Now, in the next episode of the Coaches Dugout IFT special, we will get to know the coaches of the IF team better. We'll get to know their expertise, their goals, and some of interesting facts about them as well in the next episode. So, before we go, don't forget, click on the subscribe button. Follow us on YouTube. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well. So don't forget to do that. In the meantime, I'll see you next time on the next episode of the Coaches Dugout podcast, the podcast by coaches for coaches. See you. Cheers.